Welcome back. Today we're diving into three legendary U.S. coins every collector should know: the steel wheat penny, the classic wheat penny, and the iconic Indian head cent. From wartime steel to 1800s copper, these coins carry rich history and serious value. Stick around as we reveal what makes them rare, collectible, and possibly worth a small fortune. The 1954 S. Lincoln Wheat Penny is a historically meaningful and collectible coin produced by the United States Mint in San Francisco. This specific coin carries the S mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side, which signifies its origin from the San Francisco Mint. As part of the iconic Lincoln Wheat Cent series, minted from 1909 to 1958, this coin is a cherished piece of American numismatics, combining enduring design, rich history, and the sentimental appeal of mid-20th century coinage. Struck primarily in bronze, the 1954 S penny consists of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it the warm, reddish hue characteristic of earlier Lincoln cents. It has a standard weight of approximately 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Above Lincoln's head is the phrase, "In God We Trust," while Liberty appears to his left, and the date 1954 with the S mint mark sits to his right. The reverse of the coin features the classic wheat design that gives the series its name. On either side of the reverse are two stylized wheat ears enclosing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above those words is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one. This reverse design, which Brenner also created, is considered one of the most visually balanced and symbolic in U.S. coinage history, representing both agricultural prosperity and national unity. The San Francisco Mint produced over 96 million Lincoln Wheat pennies in 1954, making it a relatively accessible coin for collectors today. Although not a rare date, it is a vital part of a complete Lincoln Wheat penny collection, especially for those seeking one coin from each year and mint mark combination. Coins in higher grades or with unique features such as doubling or errors may carry added value, but even examples in typical circulated condition are widely appreciated. This particular coin is described as being in good condition, which indicates visible wear but with all major design elements still clearly identifiable. In numismatic grading terms, a coin graded as good, often abbreviated as G, typically exhibits heavy circulation wear. The fine details in Lincoln's hair, jawline, and coat may be worn down, and the wheat stalks on the reverse may be faint or partially smooth. However, the inscriptions and date are still readable, and the overall appearance of the coin remains intact. The coin likely retains a duller brown patina, a common trait for circulated copper coins of its age. Despite its moderate condition, the 1954 S penny continues to hold significant historical interest. It was minted during the post-Korean War era, a time when the United States was undergoing considerable economic and social changes. Coins like this one were in active use in day-to-day transactions, passing through countless hands and reflecting the daily commerce and lives of ordinary Americans in the 1950s. The value of a 1954 S. Lincoln Wheat penny in good circulated condition is modest, usually ranging from a few cents to around 25 cents, depending on the buyer. But the coin's worth is not solely financial. For collectors, especially beginners, or those interested in assembling a full set of Lincoln Wheat cents, this coin provides an affordable and accessible entry point. For others, it may serve as a nostalgic keepsake, perhaps reminding them of older relatives, childhood coin jars, or visits to coin shops and antique stores. Collectors who enjoy the history and continuity of American coinage often cherish wheat pennies for their symbolism, durability, and classic design. Though the wheat cent series ended in 1958, its popularity endures. The 1954 S issue represents one of the final years of production at the San Francisco Mint for this series, adding a layer of historical importance to its story. In summary, the IB 1954 S Lincoln Wheat penny, in good condition, remains a small but valuable piece of American history. Its design honors Abraham Lincoln's legacy, and its presence in the hands of millions of Americans during the 1950s connects it to a vibrant chapter of national development. Whether added to a growing collection or appreciated as a historical artifact, this coin carries both meaning and legacy in its simple copper form. The 2009 bicentennial 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Bicentennial Cent, is a distinctive and historically significant U.S. coin issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the original Lincoln Cent series that began in 1909. This particular coin was part of a special 4-design series released by the United States Mint throughout the year 2009, each design highlighting a different stage of Lincoln's life. In good condition, the coin retains much of its visual detail, making it a meaningful item for both collectors and admirers of American history. The 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Cent is unique in that 4 different reverse tail-side designs were minted during the year, while the obverse head side retained the traditional profile of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. The obverse features the enduring right-facing portrait of Lincoln with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to his left, and the year 2009 to the right, along with the appropriate mint mark if present. The 4 reverse designs represent key phases of Lincoln's life and were issued sequentially during 2009. These include birth and early childhood in Kentucky, 1809, 1816. This design features a simple log cabin, symbolizing Lincoln's humble beginnings in Hardin County, Kentucky. Formative years in Indiana, 1816-1830, depicts a young Lincoln taking a break from rail splitting to read a book, reflecting his commitment to self-education and hard work. Professional life in Illinois, 1830-1861, shows Lincoln standing before the Illinois State Capitol, representing his legal and political career in Springfield. Presidency in Washington, D.C., 1861-1865, features the partially constructed U.S. Capitol Dome, symbolizing a nation in the midst of the Civil War and Lincoln's leadership during that turbulent time. The composition of the 2009 bicentennial cents varies. While most of the circulating coins were made with the standard modern composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, the U.S. Mint also released special collector's editions in a more traditional 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc bronze alloy, similar to the original 1909-1982 Lincoln cents. The condition of this particular coin is described as good, indicating that while it has seen some circulation, the key features and designs are still visible and discernible. In this state, fine details such as Lincoln's facial features, the structure of the log cabin or the dome of the Capitol building, and inscriptions may show signs of wear but remain largely intact. The coin likely has maintained a uniform color, with only minor blemishes, scratches, or wear visible upon closer inspection. It may exhibit some toning or light spotting, typical for coins that have been in circulation but relatively well preserved. Although 2009 Lincoln cents were produced in large quantities, their commemorative nature makes them particularly appealing to collectors, especially when all 4 reverse designs are collected as a set. A single 2009 cent in good condition may not carry high monetary value, often remaining close to face value unless in uncirculated or proof condition, but its numismatic and historical interest is far more significant. What sets the 2009 bicentennial cent apart is not rarity, but symbolism. It reflects a national celebration of Lincoln's enduring legacy, his rise from modest beginnings to the presidency, and his role in preserving the Union. This coin was also a one-year-only issue, with the reverse returning to a new permanent design in 2010, the Union Shield. As such, 2009 stands out in the timeline of Lincoln cents as a year of transition, commemoration, and education. For collectors, even those just starting, this coin provides a window into both U.S. history and the evolution of American coinage. It represents a moment when the U.S. Mint temporarily set aside the traditional wheat or memorial designs to honor a broader narrative of Lincoln's life. Holding one of these coins is like holding a miniature tribute to a man whose leadership, during one of America's most difficult times, shaped the nation's future. In conclusion, the 2009 bicentennial 1-cent coin in good condition is a valuable piece of American numismatic history, not for its price tag, but for the story it tells. Whether it displays the log cabin of Lincoln's childhood, the young rail splitter reading by the fire, the lawyer-turned-leader before the Illinois Capitol, or the monumental symbol of unity represented by the U.S. Capitol dome, each reverse pays homage to Lincoln's journey. In its modest copper form, this coin is both an educational artifact and a heartfelt national tribute. The 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a copper 1-cent coin minted at the San Francisco Mint, marked by the small S mint mark beneath the date on the obverse front side. This coin is part of the iconic Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, and is especially prized by collectors for its historical significance and classic design. While not considered particularly rare in circulated condition, the 1949 still holds value to collectors, especially when preserved well or as part of a complete wheat penny set. On the obverse, the 1949 Wheat Penny features the enduring right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, originally sculpted by Victor David Brenner. The inscriptions on this side include, "In God We Trust," arching above Lincoln's head, "Liberty" on the left near his shoulder, and the date, 1949, followed by the S mint mark on the right. The reverse showcases two stylized wheat stalks curving along the left and right edges of the coin, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America in the center. Above this, the motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, is inscribed along the upper rim. The composition of the 1949 Lincoln cent is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, typical of wheat pennies from this era. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeter condition. Circulated, your coin is described as circulated, which means it has been used in everyday transactions and exhibits signs of wear from handling, pocket change use, and time. In circulated condition, the high points of the design, such as Lincoln's cheek and jawline on the obverse or the wheat stalks on the reverse, may be smoothed down. Letters and date might show light fading, and surface luster is usually dulled or entirely gone. Some small nicks, scratches, minor discoloration, or darkening of the surface, often from oxidation or dirt, are also typical of circulated coins. However, even in this condition, if the details are still visible and the coin is structurally intact, no holes, severe corrosion, or damage, it retains historical and collectible value. Mintage and value. The San Francisco Mint produced $64,290,000 Lincoln Wheat Pennies in 1949. While this mintage is moderate, not particularly high nor very low, the coin is still readily available in the collector market especially in circulated grades. Because of this, the value of a circulated 1949 S penny tends to remain modest, typically ranging from 5 to 15 cents, depending on the exact condition and current collector demand. Uncirculated examples, mint state, can be worth a few dollars or more, particularly in higher grades. Still, even common-date wheat pennies like the 1949 S serve as important historical artifacts and building blocks for completing penny collections by date and mint mark. Their value often lies more in sentiment, education, and the joy of collecting than in high resale prices, historical context. In 1949, the United States was recovering from the aftermath of World War II and transitioning into a post-war economy. President Harry S. Truman was in office, NATO was established, and the Cold War tensions were beginning to shape the world order. During this time, the Lincoln wheat cent continued to serve as a humble yet iconic representation of American currency and identity. The wheat penny design itself was introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth and remained in production until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. The San Francisco Mint produced fewer coins overall compared to Philadelphia and Denver, so S-mint pennies from various years are often more desirable among collectors looking to complete mint sets. Summary: your 1949 S. Lincoln wheat penny in circulated condition is a respectable addition to any coin collection. It reflects the design, tradition, history, and monetary circulation of mid-20th century America. While not rare or particularly high in market value in this state, it still contributes to the legacy of one of the most recognized and widely collected coin series in U.S. history. Collectors often enjoy the challenge of finding all combinations of dates and mint marks, and your 1949 S serves as an important piece of that puzzle. The 1902 Indian head cent is a copper 1-cent coin, minted during the final decade of the Indian head penny series, which was produced from 1859 to 1909. Designed by James Barton Longacre, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint, the Indian head cent features a classical depiction of liberty, wearing a Native American headdress rather than a true Native American profile. This coin remains one of the most iconic and beloved designs among early U.S. coinage, offering a rich sense of history and artistry. The obverse of the 1902 Indian head cent shows the left-facing profile of Liberty, adorned with a feathered headdress inscribed with the word Liberty. Surrounding her are the words United States of America and the year 1902 positioned at the bottom. Over the years, many of these coins wore down significantly due to circulation, especially in lower grades, which is very likely in this case. The reverse displays the denomination 1 cent encircled by a wreath made up of oak leaves and a shield at the top. This design is elegant and simple, yet with deep symbolic value, representing strength and national unity. The composition of this coin is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The coin weighs approximately 3.01 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. These specifications were consistent for Indian head cents from 1864, when bronze composition began, until the series ended in 1909. In your description, the condition is bad and rusted, which suggests heavy circulation wear, discoloration, corrosion from oxidation, and potentially some surface damage or pitting. A bad condition. Indian head cent often lacks visible detail on Liberty's face, with the feather lines flattened and the word Liberty possibly partially or completely worn away. The wreath and shield on the reverse may also appear flat or indistinct. Rust, or more accurately, copper oxidation, creates a brown to greenish patina and can severely reduce both aesthetic and numismatic value. Coins in such poor condition are typically graded as AG, about good, or fair at best. In this grade, a 1902 Indian head cent would usually be valued minimally, often less than $1, primarily as a filler for collectors building low-grade date sets or for historical interest. Severe rust and corrosion can bring the value down to only a few cents in the open market. Despite its poor condition, this coin still holds historic significance. It was minted at a time when the United States was undergoing industrial growth and expansion. President Theodore Roosevelt was beginning to challenge corporate monopolies, and the U.S. was increasingly asserting itself on the world stage. The Indian head cent circulated heavily during this era, a common coin in the pockets of everyday Americans, making it a tangible link to that time in history. In total, 87,374 Indian head cents were minted in 1902 at the Philadelphia Mint. As there is no mint mark, so it is not a rare year. Still, many of these have been lost, damaged, or melted down, especially those in poor condition like this one. While it might not hold much monetary value, it can serve as a conversation piece or an educational tool, especially for new collectors or those interested in American coinage evolution. In summary, the 1902 Indian head cent in bad and rusted condition may not have high numismatic value, but it offers historical interest and embodies the artistry and symbolism of a bygone era in American coinage. As with many older coins, even damaged examples help illustrate the story of U.S. money and the people who used it. The 1943 D steel Lincoln wheat penny stands out as one of the most distinct and recognizable coins in the history of United States coinage. Unlike most U.S. 1-cent coins, which were traditionally made of copper or bronze, the 1943 steel penny was struck using zinc-coated steel due to a wartime copper shortage. This makes it both a historically significant and visually unique piece within the Lincoln cent series. During World War II, copper was in high demand for ammunition and other military equipment. To conserve this critical material, the U.S. Mint made a temporary change to the composition of the penny. Thus, in 1943, the Lincoln wheat penny was minted in steel and coated with zinc to prevent rust. These coins are lightweight, have a silvery color when unoxidized, and can be attracted to a magnet, unlike all other regular-issue U.S. pennies. The D mint mark beneath the date indicates that this coin was minted in Denver, one of 3 mints that produced steel cents that year, along with Philadelphia and San Francisco. The Denver Mint produced approximately 217,760,000 of these 1943 steel pennies, making them relatively common among the steel cents, but still widely collected because of their unique material and wartime backstory. On the obverse side of the Adhour coin is the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" on the left, and the year 1943 with the D mint mark to the right. The reverse features the words 1 cent and United States of America in large font with a pluribus unum at the top, all surrounded by 2 stylized wheat stalks curving up each side. This being the signature design of the wheat penny series, from 1909 to 1958. As for the condition described, scratched and circulated, it suggests the coin has undergone significant wear and tear. Circulated steel pennies from 1943 often show surface scratches, loss of the protective zinc coating, and even areas of rust where the steel core is exposed. Steel cents are particularly prone to deterioration if not stored properly, since once the zinc coating wears off, the exposed steel easily oxidizes and forms rust. A scratched coin may exhibit noticeable surface lines from handling, cleaning attempts, or contact with other metal objects. In circulated and scratched condition, A 1943 D steel penny typically falls into the good G to very fine VF range on the grading scale. The market value for such coins is modest, generally between 0.15 to 0.75, depending on the severity of the wear and whether any corrosion is present. Higher-grade uncirculated specimens, or those with full original zinc coating and sharp details, can be worth more, but this particular example, having seen circulation and exhibiting scratches, holds more historical than monetary value. Despite its modest valuation, the 1943 D steel penny remains a fascinating artifact of U.S. history. It reflects how a global conflict impacted even the smallest elements of daily life, like coinage. The 1943 steel cent is also widely collected as a novelty, especially by those assembling full Lincoln cent sets or teaching about World War II. 2-Era America. In total, while this coin is not rare in general terms, its composition and historical context make it one of the more interesting coins of the 20th century. Even in circulated and scratched condition, it carries significance as a part of the only year the U.S. minted a steel penny for widespread use. Collectors and historians alike continue to appreciate this small but meaningful piece of America's wartime economy and its coinage heritage.